Everyone, welcome to Gaia's Live. I know we were supposed to be here at 6. We ran a little late. I'm just going to post a little comment here. Hi everyone, welcome. Welcome. So if it is your first time joining us, this is one of Gaia Hawaii's live talk story sessions, and we're here with one of our practitioners today. So I'm just pinning this comment here. Questions and comments are welcome. Hi Kyle, it's been so long. Nice to hear from you. All right guys, let's get down to business. So yes, apologies everyone for being a little bit late. Oh, you know what? Where is my visor? 1 second guys. Okay, so everyone, thank you so much for joining us. This is our Gaia Hawaii live talk story session here with Viper Heart today. And we're going to get into a little bit of what she's offering here at Gaia and talk a little bit of casual spirituality here. And we've got our lovely Chubby joining us here today. And we'll talk a little bit more about him in a moment. But I just want to make sure everyone can hear us, everyone can see us. I'm going to go and pop over to the comment section and see how that's doing. Awesome, guys. Okay, so periodically I'll come and check out the comments to see if you guys can hear us, if you have any questions. Comments are all welcome. And yeah, so let's get a little bit started here. So
I think I'm going to put him back in there,
okay.
if you don't mind.
Yeah, no worries. So Chubbles wants to run a little bit free. We'll have a little introduction for you maybe at the end of the show. But how's everyone doing today? Today is June 18th. I think it's a pretty special day that has just happened. Some liberation has been going on. I think a lot of us have been feeling releases of connections that no longer served us, and things are definitely elevating. So let's get right into it, my dear. Viper Heart, tell us a little bit about yourself and tell us, let's start with just a little bit about who you are and what you do here.
My name's Viper, and I'm a medium and a channel. I channel with oracle cards, energetically, and I do crystal healing as well. So and I teach. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So she's a great psychic reader, a medium, and a healer, crystal healer. So for those of you who don't know what a medium is, or maybe you do a little bit, why don't you explain to us what that means as a medium? Because you kind of use the words channeler and medium.
Oh.
Maybe you can explain that a little bit for us.
So for my mediumship, what I do is I connect to the other side. So I connect to spirits who have either passed on or spirits who are still stuck here in this realm who need help going to the light. So yeah, I know a lot of mediums deal with the ones who have passed on. I get all of them.
All the way. So working with beings on multiple planes, multiple realms.
Like in different stages of going to the light. I would say I don't deal with.
I see.
I'm not Lorraine Warren. I don't deal with demonic.
Right.
Yeah. So
let's hope.
Yeah. I've made the choice to let them know I only deal with those who come from the good and from light. So, but the ones who, like, if they get into an accident and they were taken too soon and they weren't sure how to move on or need help, then I help them move on as well.
And that brings up a lot of closure. So I know a lot of the time when people are doing mediumship work, and mediumship work in general is to help people find some closure to their pain and their trauma.
Yeah.
Let's just go ahead and check. I just want to see in the comments here, make sure everyone can hear us. Yeah. Awesome, guys. Thank you. Just checking in that you're all there and you can all hear us. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I've never worn one of these.
Yeah, I know they're a little bit funky. I'm not sure sometimes they can reverberate off. Okay, so yeah, and that's one thing that we're going to have offering here at the store. Really, should be next month, July. Most likely mid to the later July, maybe around I believe the 17th or the 18th. We plan to have this class. So Viper is going to be teaching a, what did you call it? Closure?
A mediumship closure, closure mediumship class.
Okay.
So it's going to be, because I teach how to hone in on your mediumship skills as one type of class, and I also teach how to connect with your loved ones who have passed on. So that class is going to be connecting to the loved ones. So you don't have to be a medium to come to that class. It's going to be for anyone who's looking for closure, anyone who wants to connect over but they're not sure how to and they need help to. So I'll give some basic like tools and exercises to help you connect to the people who have passed, and I'll also channel during the class. So anyone's loved ones who come forward during the class, I'll channel messages to you guys during that as well.
Awesome. So that's a little bit about our mediumship. So you also just do your readings, and you use Oracle and Tarot, or mostly Oracle?
Just Oracle for now. I connect more with Oracle cards, and I get downloads easier. I've studied a little bit of Tarot, but I'm not super proficient in Tarot yet. So just the Oracle.
Well, it makes sense because the Oracle is really about that channeling and just kind of letting that come through instead of really reading into the symbols.
Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it's a lot easier with the Oracle. You flip the card and the universe goes through.
Yeah. Right. And then so you also do crystal healings, and I know you just did one right before we jumped on here.
Right before.
So tell us a little bit about what happens in your crystal healings or in your healing sessions.
So for crystal healing, I do a consultation first. So I like to know what the client wants to work on, what they want to work through, and then instead of just going, oh, okay, this crystal's good for this crystal's good for that, I go to Gaia and I tell the universe to please let me know which crystals work for my clients. And I'll hold my hand over the crystals and it'll get warm or hot over the crystals that are meant for them. Yeah. I'll pick up as many as the universe tells me to and then look them up afterwards, and it's always the ones that they're needing for the session. Yeah. And then during the session, I have them lay down comfortably, I use aromatherapy, and I place the crystals wherever the universe tells me to place them and wherever my guides. I also channel during it, so I'm channeling messages, and also if anyone has loved ones that are passed on, they end up coming through because the medium, it doesn't turn off. I tried to keep them all separate, like reading for this, reading for that, and it doesn't work.
That's what I was going to say. Like I'm sure when you're doing your oracle readings, your card readings for people, that mediumship comes right through, doesn't it?
Yeah, it comes like as much as I'll go into an oracle reading with like, this is oracle, this is channeling, and then somebody says this person passed away, and they go, hi, and I'm like, oh, and then they all come, and I'm like, hi. So.
So I mean, it's definitely a combination most of the time, and I notice that tends to be a lot for most practitioners when they've got a couple of gifts that they're working for. It just kind of tends to come through. But I want to ask you a couple more questions about where that stuff came from. I just want to do another check here. Hi everyone, how are we doing? Awesome. Okay, guys. So I want to ask you a little bit about, so I know mediumship is kind of the one that we've talked about a lot, and it seems to be a very prominent gift that's in you that you're working with. Is that something that came to you first? When you first started getting into your journey here of being of service and training yourself to be of service, was it the most predominant one that came to you? How did that start off for you?
So I've always, I'm trying to make this a short story.
Take your time, tell us.
I've always been able to communicate with spirits. Like I've always been able to feel them, and I grew up with that not being like real. That's not real, kind of thing. But I was the one that was like I remember my family brought home a Ouija board when I was a kid. Like I wanted it really bad, and I sat there and I got freaked out before we even started, and I was like, we're never doing this because I don't need the Ouija board. I don't need the Ouija board. I'm like, and that's not the right. I don't know.
Mama will tell you, don't ever bring the Ouija.
I'm like, oh God, no. So I don't need that. But I just always have been able to connect in with them and talk to them.
It's beautiful and interesting to see that you at that young age, you were already assured in your power that you had in you, and it's really special that you were able to keep that because you knew and you had that confidence. And I know a lot of us, start off as kids and we have these experiences that, most of the time adults around us will hush it down, or maybe they just don't quite understand, and we're not able to communicate really what we're trying to communicate. So it's hard to keep hold to that connection. But that's beautiful that you were able to know that in yourself and have that trust for yourself.
Yeah, I wish I'd known what it was called, though.
Right.
I mean, nobody says, oh, hey, you're a medium. I mean, when I have my kids, I'm going to be like, you're a medium. That's
There's a name for that. We're going to practice it.
Yeah, because I was always into haunted things, and I always wanted to go on ghost tours, and I'm the only one on the ghost tour that's having anything pop up, and everyone's on their phone looking for stuff, and I'm like, it's right there. Nobody else sees it. I'm like, right. But it's when I had my spiritual awakening, I brought up to a hypnotherapist, that I've always been able to see spirits, and she's like, oh, you're psychic, and I was like, what? I'm like, that's the same thing. And then I went and saw another one, and they were like, yeah, and they're like, you have so many around you. I'm like, yeah, they keep me up at night. And then I heard medium, and then I started honing in on it. Like, once I found out what it was, I went like maybe 2 weeks where I wasn't like honing in on it, and then after that I was like gung-ho, honing in on it, training, working. But I did fight the medium stuff for a while though, because it was like, for me it's like crystals were easy for me because like it just came, and then like
and it feels good. It's very tactile, and it's always a positive experience.
Yeah, it's like it's kind of like, I guess it's the ego is what's fighting it, because the ego wants to see something. So it's like when I have my oracle cards, it was like I could see that, so I knew I could do that, and this I could do that. When you're doing medium work, I mean, yeah, I'll have my pendulum or my drawing pad, but you don't have, and it's just the spirits connecting in with you, and it's like, I got scared at first. I kept trying to put it off on everyone. The universe kept saying, that's your main gift, and that's the one you're using, and I was like, no. No, it's not. Yeah. And I put it off, and I knew one day I wanted to do it, but I was like, I don't think I can. And then I finally trusted myself, and I was like, okay, I can. So. Was
there anything particular that happened, or maybe something that you thought that allowed yourself to push through that? I mean, I know just by spending time with you that you are very much a go-getter, and that's part of your personality. You just go for it, full force in it. But was there anything in particular that helped to push you? Because I know a lot of us, it's uncertain times. We're just coming out of things. A lot of people are changing inside, and we are going continuously in this up and down. Like, I trust myself, I believe myself, I'm awesome. Oh no, I'm not. And it's just that feeling. Was there anything that helped you get through that part?
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. There are still some moments where I'll see another medium, and I'm like, someone who's been doing it for 30 years,
right?
And I'm like, oh my God, you're so good. I can't. What? And then I'm like, no. But then I'm like, yes, yeah. I'm like, it doesn't matter. It's like I am. Then I tell myself, I'm like, actually, I am that good. I'm like, I can do that. Yes. But my vision quest that I went on, like, it was, I was like reborn, and it was amazing. I came out a different person, and I was like, I can do everything, and then everything just kind of fell into place after that.
And the point of that vision quest was to really kind of like separate yourself from all connections, give yourself some time, really deep rooted in nature, and that was kind of what you were doing there, right?
Yeah, working through fears, working through a lot. It was a lot. It was like 24/7, almost 24/7 in nature for 3 days, and I just felt like it's like the same soul, but I felt like I came out with new eyes and new soul. I was like, what is going on? It's like seeing things for the first time.
Yeah, so. Reconnecting and getting that in there. That's really a beautiful experience to have. I think that's a really important thing for all of us to have is to have that disconnection to reconnect, if that makes sense. Let me just pop over to our comments and see if we got anything here. Any questions, guys? Go ahead and send them through. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining, guys. So tell me a little bit more about your early life, and tell me about how, what gifts were coming to you at that time. Did you start to notice that you were different, or maybe some interesting experiences with speaking with spirit and stuff like that?
I don't think it was things that I realized at the time. Mm-hmm. It was things when you look back now where I'm like, oh, okay. Like when one of my neighbors passed away, and I was sitting, I just thought about this the other day. I was like, that was one of those moments. I was sitting at my kitchen table when I was younger, and we called him the yard man. He had passed away. He was always in his yard working on. He passed away. I'm looking out the window at his yard, And I swear I saw him standing in his yard, and I was like that. I mean, just like when you start rubbing your eyes, it's like I didn't see that. I don't know what that is.
And that's kind of how it starts, right? I know a lot of people say like when you start to really see things, they love to come into the gray parts of your vision, like when when you're not looking straight at it and it's just kind of there in the blur. It tends to be a little bit scary when they pop out and like that.
Yeah, it was just like, it's like one of those things where I wasn't trying to like look at his yard for him. I was just like kind of dazing off, and then I saw him, and it was like, or like when I was in my house, and we have these heavy wooden chairs that they have to physically be pushed, and everyone was asleep, or like, I think it was just me and my grandma home. She was downstairs asleep, I'm in the bathroom, and all of a sudden I hear the chairs moving, and I'm like, I was thinking to myself, I'm like, is there somebody in my house? Is somebody breaking into my house? Or is somebody in my house?
With you right now.
We'd come home and things would be like broken, and like we'd wonder if somebody had broken into the house and nobody had, and it was things like that. And then when my mom passed away, I knew right away that she was leaving me signs. Like, I didn't even know I was a medium then. I just knew she passed away, and I find something, and I'm like, I know this is from my mom, and it's like I could communicate with her, but I still didn't make the connection that I was a media.
Yeah, like, you were just like following your intuition. You just were following your body and putting a name on it. Yeah. When did Mom pass? If you don't mind me asking.
Either 10 years already.
In your early years.
Actually, so I think I was 9. I just turned 9.
Yeah. Well, that's a really interesting time too. That 19 to 20 transition there.
Yeah, like I had just I just turned 19, and like a few months after that she passed. So, and it was like unexpected, but I feel like even though it's not true that I've spoken to her more since she passed away, I feel like I know her more now that she's gone. Like, I know her soul more now than I knew of her here, because here she was kind of guarded, and she was different here. She was my mom here, but it's like now that she's on the other side, she's not my mom, but she's a soul. Yeah, she's her soul. So it's like it's nice that I can call on her and always ask her, like, hey, can you come here so I can practice? Hey, can you come here for this? Hey, can you come? So I use her during my classes too.
Awesome.
So if anyone were to take a class with me, they're definitely going to get a chance to channel my mom. So she'll come forward so people can test to see if they're using their mediumship skills correctly and getting the right information by me using her for them to get messages from her. So.
Well, thanks, Mom. We appreciate
Thanks, Mom.
We appreciate it a lot. So that's really awesome. So yeah, she's also offering you guys mediumship classes. So she's going to be doing quite a few classes and workshops here. Her specialty right now is the mediumship classes, and that's a 2-hour class, correct?
That's the closure medium is going to be an hour and a half.
The closure medium, that's going to be the group.
Yeah, the group, more of a
workshop, which will be happening in July. Yeah. And then for the private
classes, I mean, I can do either an hour to 2 hours, but they normally run 2 hours. Like, even when they're intended to run an hour, they run 2 hours because there's so much information that needs to be gone over. Yeah. Like, it's just, like, yes, you have the gift, but it's like, you've got to learn signs and symbols and what things mean and how they communicate with you and what they're going to show you. Because they don't just, sometimes they do, but they don't just show up and say, hi, my name is Bill, and I died on this day at this time doing this, and this is how this happened. This is like, if they did, there wouldn't be a need for me.
Exactly. It would just come through.
And
so that kind of brings up the clairs, right? Yeah. So that's when you start to work with your different senses. Yeah. So can you maybe tell us an example or maybe something of how you have used your clairs to interpret messages?
So like feeling like, so somebody recently made me feel like I just all of a sudden wanted to burst out laughing, and that's how you're able to communicate that they were funny and you like to tell jokes. Using things like just like different things that pop up. Like for me, butterflies have a symbolism, and dragonflies and snakes. So I'm able to associate that.
What they're with. Yeah. And so just through like practicing with those symbols and knowing it, you come to find that that's what they mean. And that assurance.
Yeah. And things like, one of the ones I recently have gotten is that, like, the making me, like, I'll be sitting here and it's like, well, how did you pass away? And like all of a sudden I am about to fall over and get really relaxed, and I'll see the light. Getting the really relaxed makes me know that they went peacefully. Like, there was no pain. It was just kind of they fell asleep and they woke back up. But you also feel, so they show you how they passed away by letting you feel it, not like intensely, but if somebody had eye problems, I'll feel my eyes hurting. If somebody had something that went on with their head or their neck, I'll feel my neck hurting.
And is that kind of normal for most mediums? Like, they normally tend to feel it, or do some maybe kind of see what happens?
Yeah, so the ones that I've studied Teresa Caputo and then John Holland. Those are my two like favorite ones to study with, and it's actually like, you know, when I first started honing in my skills, it was like, oh, why do I, need to watch another medium? But it's really good to watch them. It's like, wow, they're really good, but at the same time, it makes it like you're always learning. We never stop learning. We never stop growing, and even as a medium, you keep learning. So.
Yeah. And it just helps you understand probably what to do, like, in those experiences, how to communicate yourself when you're feeling those ways or when you're getting that information.
Yeah, it's like Teresa Caputo, she'll feel it. Like, she'll like either be shown it or feel it. John Holland, his way is he's a little bit more funny with his readings, which I like. He brings humor to it.
It's good to keep it a little light. It can be kind of a heavy thing.
That's why he does it, because it's a heavy subject. But like for me, I just give what comes through. Yeah. So it's like, if they give me, like they'll give me a car, for example, it doesn't have to be their car, but they just put an image of a car up and lets me know to talk about the car. If just like it was what I was teaching today is it doesn't have to be like if you start telling the person, oh, did they have a red Jeep, this and that, the person might be like, oh no, but you associate a red Jeep as a car, they'll send you symbols that you recognize. So they might send you a symbol of your dog to let you know to talk about a dog, or they might send you a symbol of somebody you know who's in the military to let you know to bring up the military. It doesn't mean that they're talking about those people or those specific things. So it's just our mind has to associate it with something to be able to speak it in this form.
Right. Exactly. So what would you tell someone, so if somebody is kind of not really sure if they want to get a mediumship thing done, but maybe they're kind of feeling weird, what would you say to someone if they're, thinking about it, or maybe they have or know someone who's passed on? What is really the purpose? What is it going to do for them to connect with these spirits and have this connection and have this kind of session for them? What kind of healing?
It's closure, and closure is the best thing. Like, for me, I had a weird type of thing. After my mom died, it's like, I went through the I don't care, and then I'm extremely emotional, my life is ending, and I don't care. And, it's just like, you go through all the
stages of grief.
Yeah, you go through all this grief, and then all of a sudden, for mine it was interesting, because I was able to communicate with her medium-wise, but I actually had a sound healing where I got to full-on communicate with her and have these, like, moments with her and relive memories and stuff, and it was great. And getting to talk that way and then speaking to her ever since, it just continues to give you closure. And a lot of people want to know if their loved one is at peace, like how they're doing on the other side. Did it hurt? Some people want to know, did they know that I was there? Did they know that I loved them? And the good thing about connecting with the other side is that you get to learn that they've been there for memories that have happened since they passed, and you get to find out if it hurt or not, and if they're at peace. And I'll see images of what it looks like for them up there, like what's like, the happy place that they're in now. So it's nice to share that with people. So it's really about closure. I feel like a lot of people, that's what happens. People who pass on, the people who pass on, which is a good thing to say, they're not sad. There's nobody that's sad over there that pass on. It's the people who get left behind.
And they put in there, and they are now coming from a place of full love and compassion. And it's definitely good for people to know that. But you were saying about the transition people.
Yeah, the transition people. So I have not yet come across a client who's come in who's asked about somebody who hasn't moved on. So that's the thing. Like, I am pretty sure, and I could be proven wrong one day, but let's hope not. But they're pretty much separate, because normally, in my opinion, the universe is not gonna push you to go get a mediumship reading if they know your loved one's not passed on, because there's no healing there. So you can you can pretty much guarantee that if you're going to come to a medium, your loved one is up there.
Yeah.
Somewhere up there in the cosmos.
So do you find yourself doing work to help these souls move on in these transition periods? Do you find that that's something that you a responsibility?
Yes,
yeah.
Helping them move on to the light, helping them, listening to them, like helping them out. It's some of them just want to talk. They see that you can see them and they know you're there and they just want to talk. I mean, I had 2 young girls that were with me for a while. They just needed, they were gone too soon, and they just needed someone who was young too. And just, it's nice. I mean, I would imagine that if something happened and I all of a sudden needed help, that I would like to find somebody around, that can talk to me.
And I think, that even goes for the people who are looking for, or who might be interested in getting a mediumship reading. And I think that, allowing yourself to release and allowing yourself to find this closure. A lot of time when we're in this grief, we can't move forward. We're not able to move forward with our life. We're not able to take the next steps. We're not able to find success in the ways that we want it, or abundance in the ways that we want it. And just allowing yourself to find that closure can really, start to move the energy forward. And I can sure that you can probably say that that's how it happened for you a little bit too.
Yeah, it's like, what was really big for me is when I got to communicate with my mom and find out, so they say that you're not allowed to know when you're going to pass away, but if you're right before you're about to pass away, you can kind of know. So it was like, even though she died like that, and it was kind of like an unexpected thing, and she wasn't sick, it was nice to know that she knew that she was going. As weird as that is, that brought me some closure. It's like, oh, well, she knew she was going, and she wasn't in pain for too long, So it's like, it's not to say that people aren't in pain, but that's not what their souls remember, and it's not what their souls hold on to.
Yeah.
Their souls hold on to the fact that their loved ones were surrounding them, that they had happy memories, and they go up there and then they're in the light. So, and then they stay with us, and they're a part of our memories and our lives going forward. And I feel like a lot of people think oh, my mom or dad missed out on this, they missed out on this, grandma missed out on that, they're never going to see me do this, but they see everything, and they let you know that they're there too. If you see things that are moving, things that are moved in your house that you didn't move, with them, or if you think you hear them laughing, that's them, or it's even after my mom passed away, I had a voicemail from her on my phone from before that I don't remember being there before, and I was like, that's her.
Wow. So beautiful little things that happen like that. Let's check in and see if we got any questions or comments. Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining. Oh, let's see here. We got a couple questions. Let me just scroll back here. Okay. Aloha Arcadia Models. Kyle here. Let me read what you have there. I've been slowly getting into tarot more as a tool to help clarify what is part of me, and not to have more insight to help decipher things that I've been confused about. It is a step into growth and trust. Yes, definitely. To help trust spirit guide something I needed to do more. And it's so amazing to finally get into that trusting mode. Yes, definitely. And I think, Viper could definitely back me up here in saying that cards, oracle cards, tarot cards, any of these divination tools are really great tools to get that trust going. That's a great starting tool, and I think it's definitely what was your first starting tool that you worked with, or kind of got? I know when we met at the OM Expo. What did you start off with?
I started off with crystals, but I took a class where, fun fact is I didn't realize I wasn't using the pendulum correct at first, but I started with the pendulum. Yeah. So I started with the pendulum.
Well, there's no real wrong way necessarily.
You get, you can't use it on an emotional mind. That's what I made this mistake at first was being crying and listening to it. I'm like, oh God, it's making it worse. But after I learned how to use it and got, so this guy used to actually be my pendulum, and then he decided to come apart and become a crystal. But once we got past this little part of our relationship together, then my pendulum was my first divination tool, and then oracle cards, and then I've just always been collecting crystals, but the crystals came next. I think it was pendulum, oracle, and crystals. Let's
see, we do have another question on there. Let me go ahead and peek at that. Hey Jumuna, lovely to see you, my dear. What is your favorite thing about being a medium? And what is your least favorite thing about medium, if anything? Good question.
That is a good question. My favorite thing is helping people. I mean, in general in life, but it's just like healing people. It's hard to watch other people. It's hard to watch other people cry and stuff during sessions. Yeah. But I was taught when I was training that that's gonna happen. That you're like people are gonna be emotional, and it's a good thing when people do that. It's like you can feel the energy release. Like when you let somebody know that your loved one's okay, and they're on the other side dancing, and they're on the other side doing this, and they start crying. It's like you can feel that their energy is releasing, and like it's a good. It's nice to be able to help people because it's like what's the point of having medium gifts if you're not going to use it to give people give it closure? It's kind of selfish to just use it for your own closure. So I just like helping people, and I want to help people on their healing journeys as much as physically possible, as many people as I can in as many ways. That's why I wanted to do I was telling you the family readings.
So we're trying to also, we have worked in having Viper offer group and family readings for, families who have been affected by loss. And normally the sessions that we do offer here at Gaia are individual, just because the energies tend to be individual, and each person has an individual message. But for this specific mediumship session, it would really serve well for a family, for sure.
Yeah, it's just like a lot of people have kids lose their siblings and stuff too, and they don't know how to talk about it as easy, and they need closure. They need closure just as much as the parents do. Yeah. So a parent coming to a session and going home and telling their son oh, we got closure, your sister's fine. The little boy wants to hear.
Yeah.
He
wants to be in there in the experience.
Yeah, and he wants to get messages, and they'll have messages for their siblings too. They want to give messages as much as the people down here want to receive them. They're not just sitting up there going, "Oh, it's okay, they'll be fine." They're they want to give messages and they want to help. That's why they come through as soon as they're given the opportunity to come through.
Yeah, and I think that's really beautiful, and it's really important that you can sit down and you can hear that, and allowing people to, and just hold that space to allow people to have that emotion. And it's been a very tough couple of years, hasn't it, guys? And we've all kind of been stuck together with our families, and even though it's people that we love, it just gets a little bit tough. So going to someone who opens that space for you and is respectfully holding that space for you to release that energy, it is a little bit different than going and talking to a friend or going and talking to a family member or something like that. It does have a special kind of release.
Because it's not just all types of readings. I'm discovering this more and more. It's not just you come in for a reading and you get cards pulled and you channel and then you're out the door. It's you're there to listen. I feel like it's therapy as well. It's when I go to my therapist is there to listen. When people come to me for a reading, if I pull a card and then they want to talk the whole rest of the time and they don't want me to pull any feel free to talk. Feel free to talk, and I'll channel what I get while you're talking. But I'm here to listen to you and be there for you, because a lot of people, especially gifted people, don't normally feel like we have a place to go and talk to people about things. So it's nice to have someone who understands you, listen to you.
Yeah, so. And I know for myself, it's definitely difficult for me to open up and speak about anything in general. But when you can find someone who, is holding that space for you, it really can make a difference. And then the last part of Jumuna's question there, any least favorite, or maybe we could, change that to most difficult, or maybe, something like that.
I don't think I have a least favorite. Before I learned boundaries, I had a least favorite.
Yeah.
The ones who haven't moved on yet, it's not anything against them or anything. They're sweet people, but they see the light, and it's your light's always on to them. So it's if they want to talk to you at 3 a.m, they want to talk to you at 3 a.m. I would get in bed and go to sleep. When I first started all this, before I learned boundaries, I'd go to sleep. As soon as I go to sleep, they call my name, and I'm like, oh my god, and I'm like, oh my god, and then they just keep talking to me, and they just keep showing up, and more add on. But once I set my boundaries with them, and I was these are my office hours.
Yeah.
Like now when it comes to them, I'll be like it's not that they ever go away. It's just that I put up the boundary whether I want to hear them or not. So it's I treat spirits the way I do anybody living here.
Yeah.
If my friend calls me at 3 in the morning and I'm sleeping, they can call me at 6 or 7.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that's how I feel. I tell them I'm like, okay, my office hours are open. I'm awake for the day. Come in during daylight hours. You know, so they know.
Yeah.
And then once that happened, it made everything a lot easier because now they only come to me when I'm like, okay, you can come to me. Which is pretty much any time except for nighttime. I like my sleeping time.
Yeah, and I think that's an important part of all of this, of people's spiritual journey and people connecting to spirit and people, there's a lot of us awakening, a lot of us opening up to different things, and, we tend to get really excited and we just want to go full force, but it's so important to remember yourself. Remember that, you have to put some boundaries up in life and you have to give yourself time to rest, time to compress, time to, recognize what happened and just kind of process it. Important on all levels. Let's see if we got any more questions.
That's another, so something that just popped in
Yeah.
while we're talking about this.
Yeah.
For anybody at home or anybody like at any place who's dealing with what they would consider like a haunted house or somewhere that's got spirits in it, if you treat them like they're still people that are like here walking amongst you, things get a lot easier for you. Like a lot of people get scared or they start trying to. There's nothing wrong with blessing your house, but it's like some people. The way I always look at it is they were there first. Like is the way I look at it. But like people get scared or they'll like start putting things up in their house to try to get rid of them.
And that's the thing. The blessing should be to release that spirit. And it's the intention, right?
It's the intention.
Get out of my house. Get them out. Just like with a positive intention to release and allow them to go.
Like moving them into the light is one thing, but being like get out of my house is another. Like waving things around like get out.
They're people too. They got personalities.
Yeah, like if someone was like that to me, it'd be like, you want me to like what? Like if you bless the house, just make sure that you treat it as a moving them into the light versus a getting them out of your home because you're really in their home. To be honest, if you could,
I think that's really important, and it's something that I haven't really I haven't really heard that before, and I'm just going to say it again for all of us. So, if any of you out there are having difficulties, because I know a lot of you come here to the shop and you're like, I've got some funky things going on at home. I want to clear it. I want to cleanse it, and of course, burning your sage and stuff like that is great. But I think what Viper there is saying is absolutely amazing. These people, these entities, these energies are just like us. So if we can show them respect and come with love and help them into a better place instead of coming from fear. I mean, it's never a good idea to come from fear, although we do need a little bit of anxiety to get us up in the morning. But treating all the beings with respect, and I think that's going to change a lot of the way that I cleanse and clear things too.
Yeah, it's like I had a friend before, one of my best friends whose house was haunted. I come over to her house and she's like, you come over, and they just come out the woodworks, and I'm like, yeah, you go in the kitchen and all the things are open, and like she's always like, oh my god, and she's like freaking out about it, and I would just come over and I'd be like, just talk to them like they're people. I would tell them, I'm like, look, it's bedtime, or look, I'm going down the hallway, it's dark, I don't want to deal with this right now, please do not come out. Like, I really respect you. It's the same way I talk to my friends. I'm like, if my friend jumps out in the middle of the night, it scares me. They're going to get the same reaction. Just like, but be like nice or like friendly, funny about it too. Like they're funny. Spirits, everybody's got their personality. They're not just like this looming, glooming thing that's over the house. They've got a reason for being there, and a lot of the time is that they don't know how to move on, or there's something they're held on to, or they need someone to talk to them.
Yeah.
So like if you're gonna try to get rid of spirits in your house, it'd be nice to have somebody come over first who can talk to them, speak to them, and then have that person clear it. Because that way at least the person moving on will get their closure of what they needed to say. Because sometimes it could just be as simple as, I didn't die that way. Like something happened and everybody, put in the news report they died such and such way. And it can just be as simple as, I didn't take that, I didn't do that, that didn't happen. And then they want to go.
And that's so true even for, all of us here. It bugs us when we're not heard properly. It's hard to sleep at night when you're thinking about, oh gosh, I need to clear that thing up. I mean, that makes total sense. We got a couple more questions here. Let me
Sorry,
pull them
I'm
out.
talking so much. all these messages are coming through, and I'm like, I need to play this more.
Maria says, thank you for helping people. Amazing. Yes, thank you, Viper. We have Kawaii 55 Rays. I love my tarot and oracle cards too. I have a pendulum, but never got too into it. Don't want to misuse it. So great to hear about you and your gift. And you know what, guys? I think that Viper did a great explanation of how to work with the pendulum. Said it better than I've ever. There's never an incorrect way to use the divination tools. But the one thing that you want to keep in mind is to not be coming from an emotional place. That's so important because, divination tools are connected to ourselves, right? The answer is coming through us. The answer is coming from our higher self. And if we don't find ourselves in a sound emotional state, it's really difficult to connect, to hear that.
Yeah, it's really, it's hard when you are especially at the beginning of your spiritual journey. For me, I took that class and I was like, okay, yes, I know I can influence it, but this pendulum knows all. This pendulum, it was in the very beginning of my spiritual journey, this pendulum knows all. And I asked it something, and it, I was already not in a, at the very beginning of my spiritual awakening, I was at the end of my depression kind of thing, and it's just when you're depressed and you ask your pendulum something that you're freaking out about, the pendulum's not gonna help you in the way that you wanted to.
Right.
I was asking all these questions and it's spinning all these ways, and I was like, oh God, my life is ending. Yeah. And then I found out 2 days later that I was that's not how you do it.
You're just in a wrong little state of mind.
Yeah.
And that goes with the saging, the blessing of your house, with doing any kind of intention work, manifestation work. When you're putting together little spells for yourself, or planting seeds, or doing any new moon or full moon ceremonies where you're trying to put some intentions and manifest some abundance for yourself, it's always important to come from that specific state of mind, that calmness, that connectedness. Let's see, we had a couple more things there that I wanted to take a look at. Awesome, guys. Thank you so much for joining. Keep the comments coming through. We're loving it. Jamuna here. Really, if one thinks about it, who is really the real? I'm sorry, I'm totally not reading that right. Who is really the real who in this world? Yeah, well, exactly, right? We're all on different frequencies. Yeah. We're all people-y. We all have personalities. Let's see here. The body is not who we really are. It's another tool. Great point there, Jamona. Definitely. So let's see. I love to talk about Chubby if he's around. If he's ready to come. So let's meet our sweet little lover. See where he is there.
It's your talking.
So we're gonna bring in a sweet little lover here of Vipers. So this little sweetheart comes to Gaia with Viper, and he helps her do some of her readings. And tell us a little bit about this sweet angel pie.
Okay, we get on the table for a second?
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay, glass, little baby. So this is my baby. This is my son, and he goes everywhere with me. I've had him since he was born, and he's 5.5 now, and he's just, he's the love of my life, and he's very explorative. He's been here with me at work all day. He comes to the shop with me, and he's an extremely old soul. He's very spiritual. He downloads messages, and then because I can talk to him, I can download from him. So if he downloads, I can talk to him about it.
Yeah.
And this is actually his deck. He reads Oracle.
Yeah.
So, and he gives accurate readings. So
I know he pulled a card for me the other day, and I was pretty blown away. He's spot on Jubbles. Yeah. And we've come to find that one of his favorite spots in the house is underneath the altar here.
Yeah, he's a sweetheart. He's part of everything for me. And he pulls a great card for me. He pulled the cards for the reading this past Sunday that I did for Gaia.
If you guys haven't seen the reading for this coming week, well, we'll have Viper do another one this Sunday, of course. Maybe Chubbles will pull some things in there.
He's always helping me, and he's gonna be here for all of the classes that I teach. He's come to every class I've taken, pretty much every class I've taken here, and then He's going to be there with me on the Oracle card class that we're having on Sunday.
Which reminds me, thank you. So we have Viper's class coming up, the Oracle Workshop Beginners class on Sunday. We do have about, I think, 2 spots open right now if anyone is interested. What else do we have coming up this month? And then at the end of the month, the discussion group. So we have a nice discussion group happening on the last Sunday of this month. And that will be kind of an open discussion.
Yeah,
right? We're doing that one for open discussion.
Open metaphysical discussion, so people can bring any questions that they have, anything they want to learn about.
Yeah.
And it's just a place for like-minded people to connect and just get answers from each other. And I mean, I'll be facilitating the group, but it's really for anybody to answer anyone and talk and get to know. I mean, I've learned back when I used to go to the discussion group, there's people that show up that aren't the teacher that have taught me just as much as the teacher teaches you. Everyone's on their own path and know their own information.
And it's a place for community. I know, sometimes I have some of you guys coming in here looking just for people to kind of be around and kind of bounce ideas out and just have some similar energy around you, and that is exactly what it's here. It's here for you to have some community, have some support. And then next month we're gonna have the discussion groups be a little bit more healing based. And we'll talk a little bit more about that and post that on the Instagram. But we're coming up to the end of our time here, guys. Let Viper say any last words, and I'm going to check if you guys have any last questions there, anything last to say.
I appreciate everybody who's watching this and who's going to watch this later, and I'm so excited to get to help people and just be a part of your guys' journey. And
thanks for being a part of it, my dear. We got a lot of love for Troubles here. He's so adorable. Excited. I love him. He's so aware. Yeah, he is so aware.
He's been waiting for this live. Like, we were going to do it. He was like, I've been waiting for this.
Yeah, he's been waiting for it all day, really. Waiting for his close-up. Oh, sweet Chubby.
Yeah, if anybody, when you guys come into the shop, like, Chubby doesn't charge. If anybody wants him to draw a card for you guys when you come in to shop, he's more than like, he'll draw a card for you. He loves helping people too.
And thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Even if you didn't catch the live and you're watching this later, send us a message, give us a call, come down and come and visit us. Otherwise, we hope you have a beautiful weekend. Aloha Friday. Love and blessings to you all. Everyone take care, and we will see you on the flip side, guys. Lots of love.